Thank you all for coming. It's a nice turnout, and we appreciate your taking time out of your evening to come here and talk to this subject. We have some things we have to do before we get to item 4. We have approval of minutes of the previous meeting, and I don't expect too many of you to want to vote on the minutes, but we have to get that out of the way. I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the meeting of April 9th.
Make a motion to approve the minutes.
Second?
I second.
Good, moved and seconded. We approve the meetings of April 9th, 2015 regular meeting. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Any abstentions? Hearing none, the minutes have been approved. The next thing we're required to do by the Brown Act is have public input. And that gives everyone an opportunity to talk about any subject except the subject in question tonight.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes. Oh, I'm sorry. We have one more thing we have to do. It's otherwise Linda Darms will go into cardiac arrest. So, please, Mr. Secretary.
The Middletown Area Town Hall was formed to operate as a true town hall, with everyone participating and voting. However, county officials required us to elect a board to conform with other county advisory committees. Our bylaws specify that the board makes decisions based on the vote of everyone present. The board encourages all members to give their opinions and vote on every matter before the assembly. All those in attendance are advised this meeting is being videotaped. Those who do not want to be videotaped have the following 2 options. 1, you may request the camera to be directed away as you speak, or 2, you may provide a written statement to someone to read into the record on your behalf. And you're also being recorded here. Thank you.
Good. Now, on voting, just so you know, only people that live in the South County Fire District are allowed to vote. Okay? You're allowed to be here and to listen and all of that. But if we get to a vote, we're going to ask you to abstain and not participate in the vote. Okay? So public input. Here's how we're going to do it tonight. We're going to start on this side, and anyone that has public input will be allowed 2 minutes to, I know it says 3 minutes, but we're cutting that down because we got a lot of people and we got a big agenda. So I'm making a decision from the chair to make it 2 minutes for public input instead of 3. Any objections? Hearing none? Okay, good. We got to laugh, and that's good. We got off on the right foot. Well, humor is just great. So we'll start right over here. Anybody that has public input, raise your hand and I'll recognize you. Marlene.
I have a few things to say. First of all, I'd like to request a round of applause for Fletcher Thornton and Joe Sullivan and his children for cleaning up downtown Middletown a couple of weeks ago.
How about you? You were there.
Also, the Middletown Area Merchants Association is planning on providing free movies in our park here in Middletown. The way to do that, though, is to go through Hardisters. Probably in about the next week, they will round up to the nearest dollar and use that change to buy the equipment to have the movie with. So I'd like to ask everyone, when you go in the next week or so and beyond, as long as it takes for us to raise the money to get the equipment, to please round up and donate towards that equipment. And also I'd like to request that on next month's agenda, I'd like to discuss having a marquee for the park.
Marquee for the park. Next agenda. Thank you, Marlene.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Yes, ma'am.
So I'm going to speak directly to the general. Oh no, I'm not
No,
supposed
you're not.
to.
No, you're not.
I forgot.
You may think you are, but you are not.
No, but I am a little
Point of order. Can we have the individuals introduce themselves, please?
When we get to the time that we're going to start talking about Dollar General, I will introduce everyone at the table. Okay. Any more input? Yes, Madam.
Hi, I'm Monica Rosenthal, and for those of you who don't know me, I'm running for District 1 Supervisor. The election will take place in June of 2016, and if you ask me why I'm running, one of the reasons is because Jim Comstock is not running. I wish to follow his lead, not to wrestle with him for the lead. But anyway, there's a lot of wonderful things happening here in South Lake County. So I like to kind of call us like the cool kids of the county, and I want to be a part of that future. I am a part of this community. You are all part of this community. So I look forward to some new things coming up here in the future. A couple of the things I'd like to invite you to and make you aware of is that on June 5th, I'll have a little mixer over at Latrice's Sassy Scissors, and I invite you all to come and join me there. That'll be from 4 to 7. I'll also be around for the Middletown days, and then towards the end of the month, we'll have another campaign mixer at the north end of the county. So anyway, I look forward to working on some future projects. And thank you. A couple of other things I wanted to just bring to the board's attention is for future agenda. Wanted to add on, which I'll forward some information about the Wellville project, and also about the Lake County Fair. So,
Thank you. Thank you, Monica, for coming here and making that announcement for us. Okay? Yes, sir.
Good afternoon. My name is Uriah Murray. I recently started Middletown Taxi, and I just wanted to say hello to you all. I wanted to tell you a little bit about myself. I was raised up in Oregon and moved here 7 years ago. However, my family has pretty deep family roots here in California, and some of them are right here in Middletown. My mom attended Middletown High School with my Uncle John Murray and Janet Murray, and yeah, it's just nice to get to know the people that they knew growing up, and I had the honor and pleasure to meet a few of their best friends and comrades in their high school days, and it's really nice to hear the history that you can't read in books, and get to make those connections. I'm really proud. Well, not to pat myself on the back, but it's been really touched my heart. And that's many of you that have given me such feedback, and it's been very gratifying. I just want to thank you all. One thing off that, a couple other different subjects. It would be nice to see a teen community center in Middletown. And I just want to throw that out in the. We have a senior center here. It'd be nice to see maybe a teen activity center. And being from Oregon, the land of logging, I have noticed that we have some active logging going on here in the community, and it saddens me that clear cutting is going on in the community. It would be really nice to see some sustainable forestry practices here, and that's kind of what brought me to California. I really like to look at the mountains and not see clear cuts. That's all I have to say.
Good. Thank you so much. Excuse me, Mr. Murray. Sometime in the future, perhaps you'd come back and talk to us about the service you provide and all that. Not tonight. You're out of time.
I just want to say one last thing. We do offer discounts for seniors, vets, disabled, alter-abled students with valid IDs and Twin Pine Casino employees. And if you want to talk with me, I'll be around later.
All right, thank you. Anybody on the side? Any other public comment on that side? How about down this side? Yes, sir. Go ahead.
I'm Hank Lesher.
Hank Lesher.
Wanted to clarify one thing. If you own property in the South Lake County Fire District, you're eligible to vote, aren't you? You won't be denied representation, will you?
No. We don't want to deny representation to anybody. We just want to encourage people in South County to come. Yes. Anybody else? Any more public comment? Yes, Boris.
Yes, Boris Brumfield. with the Gibson Museum, we'd like to thank everyone who participated in our anniversary celebration, and to let folks know that we are still in need of volunteers at the Gibson Museum and Cultural Center. And then this coming Saturday, in addition to the activities that will be going on in Middletown Square, the Methodist Church is having a rummage sale to send students to, or their youth, to camp this summer. So wander over there and check out the good stuff at the Methodist Church. Thank you.
Thank you, Horace. Anybody else?
Hi, I'm Linda Deal Darn.
Watches on it.
And I just wanted to let everybody know that we have a geothermal cleanup waste site on Butts Canyon Road, and they're proposing some projects, and I'm hoping she got a hold of you.
She did.
She's going to be here next meeting to give us updates on what they're proposing to do at that site. It was a place where geothermal waste was dumped and was not dumped properly, and it had to be cleaned up. So they're going to do some other things out there. So it's on Butts Canyon Road on the left with all the trees around it in the middle of nowhere.
Good, thank you. All right. Where? Oh, yes, ma'am.
Is this community announcement time?
Yes.
Anything you want to talk about, as long as it's not on the agenda.
Oh, thank you. I just want to let everybody know that the farmers market is happening now. It has been for 2 weeks, and we've had a really dismal turnout. It's Friday at 4:30 to 7 at Lovey. It's in the parking lot there. But we've had really nasty signage. We haven't had any of it. So we just love it if you can help spread the word, let people know what's happening on the Friday.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
I'm Diane Tully. I was told some while ago by the manager of the Davis Estate, which is the back end of Anderson Springs Creek, that there was going to be cutting taking place of the trees starting in 2016, and I have not been able to get clear answers about it since discovering that. I would like that on the agenda for the future to find out what the plans are for logging of the Davis Estate.
Where is this located?
It's the back end of Anderson Springs.
175.
Creek, 175 Anderson Springs. The foothills of Montana. It goes all the way up to California.
Yeah, you'll have, Cal Fire will be able to give you that information. That's the first person they have to contact, I'm sure, if they're going to do any logging at all, especially after May 1st. So.
Thank you.
But we'll reserve the right to put it on the agenda if it comes up, okay?
Thank you.
You're on the wrong side. Go ahead.
Florence Lake County opening and Arts Happening is happening on June 7th from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Please join us. Sculptures, new sculptures, poetry, dance, music. It's going to be wonderful. Please come and see and enjoy the art.
Thank you. I'm going to close public comment and bring us to item number 4, the Dollar General use permit discussion. I want to introduce the principals that we've invited here to answer your questions and to talk to you. I want to thank Joe Dell, especially for coming all the way from Texas to be here for this meeting. I think we owe him a round of applause just for his Joe Dell from Cross Point, and next to him is Rick Coel, the Director of Planning for Lake County, and next to him is Mark Gilchrist from Dollar General. So all the principals are here, and we're going to have a discussion tonight. We're not going to have an argument. We're going to have a discussion. And it's going to go like this. We're going to give everyone up here at the table a chance to make an opening statement, and then we'll start on this side. We'll go right down, and you'll be given a chance to ask questions of the principals involved in this project. Now, you may not like the answer to the question. But that's okay, I understand that. But we're not going to debate the question. You ask the question, they give you an answer, and you say, thank you very much. Because we're all very civil here, and we don't want anybody to get upset and hurt feelings and have to throw you out. Okay? So, what?
There's chairs here, and there's a bunch of people standing there. So I just wanted to let people know that there's
There are chairs,
on this
there are
side.
empty chairs here. I understand you don't want to sit next to Bill.
Got one right up there.
Okay, so remember, we're going to recognize everyone that we can, and we won't allow anyone to ask a second question until everybody is allowed the first time. Does that make sense for everybody? In other words, we're not going to allow you to ask the second question until everybody has asked their first question. Okay? I'm going to start with Rick Coel, the Director of Planning for Lake County, and how he came to where we're at this point on this use permit. Mr. Coel.
Hey, thank you. Good evening. Rick Coel. I'm the Community Development Director for the county. I have been for the last 8 or 9 years. And what I'm here tonight for is just to give a little background to the county's process specific to the Dollar General use permit application. My staff and I are currently processing a major use application for the Dollar General store on a parcel located just north of the gas station up here. And it is a commercial zone property. It's within the local commercial zoning district. And Cross Development, on behalf of Dollar General, applied for a use permit for hopeful approval and construction of a 9,100 square foot retail store, Dollar General. You may have been in one of their stores by now. There's one recently opened in the town of Nice, another one in the town of Clear Lake Oaks, and they're becoming more popular throughout California. My staff and I are in the middle of the processing of this use permit application. We do not have a hearing date set yet. We are still resolving issues with overall project and the site planning, some of the improvement requirements through Caltrans, a number of different things that we need information on in order to complete the evaluation, the environmental analysis of the application. So I just want to be real clear right off the bat that it's, we're not set for hearing yet. I don't have a hearing date set yet. I don't even have one in mind. But once we receive the information that we've requested, such as the amount of soil needed to fill and compact the site, looking at some slight design modifications and the Caltrans traffic requirements, once we've resolved those issues, we will be preparing an environmental review. Most likely it will be a California Environmental Quality Act mitigated negative declaration. It will contain numerous conditions that would be imposed on the project if approved that will require the impacts to be mitigated. That could be impacts from aesthetic concerns, traffic, lighting, stormwater, etc. Okay, so that's just kind of the general process, and we're about halfway through that application processing. I think mainly, Fletcher, that's really what I...
That's great.
Yeah.
Thanks, Joe. Thanks, Rick. Joe?
Sure. My name is Joe Dell, and I'm with Cross Development. We're out of Texas, and we've been developing some Dollar Generals here in Northern California and a few other places. I'm the project manager for the actual development, so I can answer specific questions about the development, the site design, the building design, technical questions like that is why I'm here. So if those types of questions come up, I'll be happy to answer them.
Thank you. Mark?
Hi, I'm Mark Gilcrease. I'm the district manager for this area for Dollar General. I don't know if I'll be able to answer all of your questions. If it's a very technical question, I'm just going to turn it over to Joe and development of it. I can tell you some things about Dollar General. I can tell you some things about the 2 stores that we have in this area right now, North Lake. Other Dollar Generals that I run Dollar Generals from Grass Valley, if you know where that is, kind of west through this area here. And basically what I'm here tonight for is to answer questions that maybe you can answer some things, because I've heard a lot of different things about Dollar General. It's a company that's been around for about 74 years, and we can kind of work together through some of that stuff. And if I can't get you an answer, you'll give me your email address later on. I will get you some answers that you need to help you make decisions.
Thank you, Mark. Okay, we're going to start the questions. I'd like for you to think about your question, and then when you hear other people ask the same question, I'd like for you to apply the answer to your question, unless you have a new question, because we have a lot of people. We want to get to everybody if we can. We're going to start right over here in the front. We're going to go straight back this way and then around. Remember, you won't be allowed to follow up on anything. The question will be asked. They will give an answer. Be sure you indicate who you'd like to ask the question of, so that we know what's coming ahead, okay? Anybody on this side? Linda?
I'm not sure if it's going to be the Dollar General rep or the...
And stand up.
Linda
and
Dealdarms.
say your name and where you're from.
Middletown. I'm not sure if this question is going to be to the Dollar General rep or to the developer. There are 2 existing Dollar Generals and 2 proposals in our county at this time. One of the existing and 2 of the proposals are close proximity to schools. The second existing in this town that does not have a school is placing a Dollar General store next to a school a factor in purchasing property.
We don't purchase actual property. We work with developers. We actually have a system called STEM, and most major corporations use it, and it decides where's the best areas for the kind of products that we sell. Schools have really nothing to do with it, and no municipalities have really nothing to do with those where we decide to put them.
Thank you.
I apologize, sorry, I don't remember your name.
I'm Rick Cowell.
Well, my question has to do with, I believe it was 2012, there was a plan made for the county and they included Middletown. And in that plan, it talked about wanting to encourage cottage industries to maintain a certain feel to the community and to help maintain the incomes that come into those businesses in the community. In other words, wanting to sort of replicate something similar to a Calistoga and avoid kind of the chain situation happening here. And I talked at one time to the city, someone in the city, and they said the group that was managing that had to be dissolved because of funding. Has the county totally abandoned the idea of trying to encourage cottage industries instead of encouraging chain and losing the...
No, the county is encouraging all types of development and economic stimulus. You're probably referring to the Middletown area plan update, since that was the most recent policy planning document for this area. And there's been nothing dissolved in terms of land use planning, MEC functions of the county. You have a relatively new update to the Middletown area plan, and it includes numerous policies and goals and objectives.
And what is that latest update?
That was adopted in 11 or 12.
11, I think.
Yeah. It's already been that long. It seems like it's only yesterday. So at any rate, you have a relatively new area plan which has policies. It's a guiding document for development in this area. And it does talk about encouraging small town, retaining that small town character of Middletown. And it deals with all manner of policies, from environmental protection to economic development and guiding the growth of the town. So...
Thank you for answering my question.
Thank you.
Tom Darms. It's kind of like I've heard, it's a two-part question maybe. I've heard that the property is going to be purchased or is already purchased by, what is it, Cross Point?
Cross Development.
Cross Development. And you develop the property and then lease it to Dollar General.
That's correct. So the property has not been purchased yet. It's under contract.
Okay.
We are going through the process of due diligence and some entitlements with the county and making sure that it all works out. But we will purchase the property, we will build the structure, and then, yes, Dollar General leases that from us for their own purchase.
And has there ever been a problem or a development where Dollar General pulls out of your properties and then you have to find somebody else to go into the building?
I have never experienced that on our side. Dollar General is a fantastic client. They have fantastic leases. And so I speak from experience. I grew up in a small town in Texas. Had Dollar General there since I can remember. I'm 40 years old. And, I mean, they built 2 more in the same town. So I would tell you that in my experience, they're not going to back out and leave an empty building. And we have, the importance of keeping the building and a tenant in there as well, because we're going to own the building and the land. So I would tell you Dollar General is not going to leave the lease.
Thank you. Thank you, Tom. Next row.
I'm just curious about.
Wait, stand up and give me your name.
Hi, Amanda Ayler. I'm just curious if you guys have any statistics on small towns of a population like Middletown bringing something like this in, and if you guys have any idea of the sustainability of the other small businesses after bringing something like this in to a small town.
From Dollar General's point, I don't have the statistics. I can tell you the first Dollar General that went in 75 years ago with Cal Turner, the store is still there. It was actually in a town called Scottsdale, which this is my first time through Middletown. I know the lake and stuff.
Right.
It's exactly like this town right here.
Right.
Other businesses are there. They still thrive. I'm not an economic major, but I will tell you, when we usually go into a town, number one is, I can probably answer some of the questions with this too. On a Forbes 500 list, we're 174. So we're pretty well up there with stores. We've been around for 74 years. We have over 12,000 stores. We're just new coming out toward the West Coast. Mm-hmm. So sustainability-wise, I understand that. Yeah, we've never closed a store. We might move one.
I'm more curious on the small businesses that are running locally by locals.
This is what comes out with small businesses. Is all we try to do, we are a magnet to bring people into the area. We create some competition, yes we do. But in the end, the whole point of what we do is we're trying to give the town something that possibly they need as a convenience. Now what other businesses do, they have to do. If they have to lower their price, if they have to maybe better customer service, in the end what really happens is you have another choice for what you want to do. Right. You also have more choices for it, but it also creates a better environment for everybody. So what we do is we allow, as we come into usually the small towns, it helps spur some growth also in the economic areas that possibly could use more economic opportunities.
So I'm just curious because when I step into a store now, I'm interested in who I'm supporting, opposed to just what I'm buying. I want to know where it's coming from, and so may I ask the majority of the items in the store, am I supporting USA made items, or
you're supporting the best items that we can find? I can tell you, let's put it this way. I worked for Walmart for 15 years. And you say I'm Walton personally, we did try to go out and buy as much as we could American built and American quality. Where we sustain those businesses is where they stay. I know at Dollar General, and I know a lot of the products that we carry about 12,000 different SKUs. We try to get the best quality that there is. If there's an issue with it, we're going to look at it and not carry the product. Let's put it that way. I can't tell you what's the percentage that comes from America or what doesn't. The majority of our products do come from America, but there's not an exclusive American built area or a California built area yet.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Tracy Kramer, and this is for Richard. Our population here is 1,000, and coming through on any given weekend, we have 800 out-of-towners coming in to Harbin. And so I'm wondering in development plans, if you ever look at trying to get those tourist dollars in. So building up the area for out-of-towners coming in, the kind of people who go to Harbin and the kind of people who go wine tasting.
Well, I think a lot of that is the role of the private sector to take advantage of and develop, taking advantage of that tourism that's coming in. The county has spent a lot of time and continues to spend a lot of time trying to attract businesses in the county, trying to work on image enhancement, but also trying to diversify the economic base and the range of services in each of the communities around the county. You might talk with Jack Long. He's the county's economic development advisor. He could probably answer that your specific question a lot better than I can. He works with the county administration office, Jack Long.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Carlos McGrady, Middletown. Just have a question for the developer. I noticed you said you guys have a good relationship with Dollar General. I did look up Dollar General. You guys are a great company, very reputable. But the question for me, kind of follow up for Tom, is if something did happen, you guys didn't work out here, you guys had to move to a different location, and you guys do have an interest in keeping a tenant in that building, who would replace Dollar General? Do you guys have other relationships you guys already have in mind, or would you guys just choose a local business around here, or how would that work?
So it's a hard question to answer. We don't have, I can't tell you who would replace them. I can tell you we love the fact that Dollar General stays with their lease and never leaves. We would market the store or the structure to be leased by pretty much anybody that could, open a business there and thrive and meet the qualifications of the lease. So it's nobody specific, but would guess it would be someone retail oriented. I would assume it'd have to be retail oriented because the way it's zoned, unless we went through a whole process of changing that and it became industrial. But it would be some type of retail use in the future if Dollar General ever were to leave.
Thank you. Are in the back anyway? Yes. And go ahead. Name?
Middletown. I'd like to, you might have already answered it, but I'd like to know how you came about to have Middletown have a Dollar General. The second question I have is, would you explain the Dollar General? Because most people think it's a dollar store, it's not.
Sure. First part of the question, we actually do not take a dartboard and throw darts at it and figure, okay, there's the town, that's what we're going to put it in. There is a program, I have not seen it. I asked this question myself when I was at the home office. How do we decide where to put stores? We have 12,000 stores. We're looking at California just in the next 3 years, put over 1,000 stores just in California. And that bucks the trend of the economic developments going on in California. I mean, for everything else that's going on in California, it's not well in a lot of instances. But we see opportunities, not just for our stores to go in, but to spur some economic development. Not just in California, we just put 2 stores in Oregon. We're starting to move up to Oregon and into Washington too. So the program I know that they use is called a STEM program, and it decides based on, there's a lot of external factors. It's not just the town. We have stores, actually we're looking at a location now, I'll tell you, if you know where Yuba City is, we're looking at a location that's about 10 miles south, and when we go look, when I went and saw it, I look around and all I see is mountains. There's nothing around it. So why are we picking this location? Well, because the programs that we use know where the economic growth is going to go. And so that's the only thing I can really tell you about how were they picking. I do know, and Cross is right, we don't get out of leases, and I know that's a big deal. I talk to a lot of small towns about it. Okay, great, you're going to come in, you're going to provide this, but what happens if you leave? We're stuck with this building. We haven't done it yet, as far as I know. In most towns that we go in, Joe, you said you lived in a town that's had Dollar General all your life. I'm from Texas too. I'm used to Dollar General being there since I was a little toddler, which was too many years ago. And usually what they do is there's not one, there becomes 2 or 3. And again, we're looking at where we can provide the best service for the customer. On the other end of it, the Dollar General, and I started a store here. When I started with the company, I got back into retail. I went to college, did some other things, got back into retail, and I opened a store in Marysville. And the first thing I heard from people was, you're not a dollar store, you're a dollar store, because of the word dollar in it. Well, long before there was a Dollar Tree and all the other dollar stores, Cal Turner, who started the company 74 years ago, called it the Dollar General. And the point of that was it was a general store, because that's really what it is. And a lot of things were close to being a dollar. We have about 12,000 SKUs in the store, and I'd say roughly, don't count them, maybe 2,000 are a dollar, 2,000 or 3,000. So we're a general store is what we are. But we have dollar because it shows the savings. And you know, I've talked to Rick Dwelling, who's the CEO now, and several others, and said, you know, he goes, "What's the biggest thing you've seen in California?" I said, "Rick, the thing, we're a dollar store." He kind of looked up. He goes, "Oh yeah, because the word dollar's in it." Yeah, so that's the biggest thing for us is we come out in stores, and like I said, right now we've probably got about 120, 130 stores. We're having to explain to people, and that's great, that's fine, that we're not a dollar store, we're a general store. We do carry some convenient items, a lot of convenient items that are close to $1. So I hope that answers it.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Craigie, Middletown. Mine's kind of an operational type of question. In general, do your stores, if let's say the high school boosters are putting on a barbecue every weekend and their barbecue breaks down, if the high school booster came to you and said, "Hey, our barbecue broke down, it's a $500 barbecue," does Dollar General donate? Would they come in and say, "Hey, go buy it for us, it's yours"?
Right now,
like that?
I'll tell you what the policies are for Dollar General right now, is that we do things a lot in the community, but it all goes through our home office, and they handle it off of there. There's some tax reasons for it, and they're able to do it a lot of times more thoroughly than a lot of stores can do it. But I've kind of learned out here, and I can't promise anything, if they will come to me, my store manager, you say you get with my store manager, he comes to me, I'm going to do something for the community. Because again, we're brand new out here, it's our image, and I'm a big environment guy when it comes to what's going on in the community, because the community supports us. We want to support the community. So we'll help the community where we can, if I got to get involved.
How available would you be?
All they got to do is make a call. I'm single, so I don't have to worry about anything. I can call day and night.
Thank you. Farther back. Anybody on this side? Okay, we'll go over to this side and come back this way. Yes, go ahead, Mr. Adams.
My name is Martin Adams. I had a question, more of a procedural question. 2 months ago, the community came together and we voted on the presence of the Dollar General store, and it was turned down. So the question that I have is, does the community have a say in whether the Dollar General store gets to be here or not?
I'll answer that. What we did was we notified the group that we were going to a pre-application meeting, and we talked about this and that, and we did a straw vote. How many are in favor? How many are opposed? And I went to the pre-application meeting. I think Joe was there, and I voiced the opinion of math at that time. Of course, we had no application, we had no drawings, we had nothing except just a pre-application meeting. So we did voice our opinion, but that doesn't commit us to anything. This body commits us to whatever it wants to, okay? But that was for the pre-application meeting, okay?
Fletcher, he asked if math has any say at all whether or not it comes in. Do we have any weight with the county? I think that was your question.
I can't answer that, but maybe Rick can answer that. Does math have any weight with?
My understanding is math is advisory to the Board of Supervisors. Okay, so the county has processes in place, legal processes, and the county is legally obligated to process this use permit. Once we've completed the environmental review, and when these folks have given us that information to complete it, we're going to notice this for a public hearing before the Lake County Planning Commission. The Lake County Planning Commission is appointed by the Board of Supervisors, and any decision they make is appealable to the Board of Supervisors. So that process cannot be changed, no matter what the opinion of this group is. But I do believe that the Board of Supervisors does take into consideration the opinion and viewpoint of all of their advisory committees in the county, including math.
Does that answer your question, Mr. Adams?
This has to run its course.
Of course. We can't as a body say, okay, King's X, we don't want a hearing. That's not the way it works. When it comes time for public comment, which will be at the Planning Commission and, if necessary, the Board of Supervisors, everyone here, including Matt, as chairman, I'll go, and you can express your opinion. You're free to stand up and say, I'm opposed to it or I'm in favor of it. So it doesn't, we can't stop anything. We can voice our opinion and give our input. Okay. Is that okay, Mr. Adams? Okay, thank you. Yes, yes, go ahead.
I'd like to
Name.
Oh, I'm sorry, Greg Van Oss. I think my question is for Mr. Coel. I'd like to know for sure, does the proposed plan meet with the zoning guidelines for the lot that they're proposing and the Middletown Area Town Hall? And has the Dollar General cooperated with the county? Have they refused anything that the county's requested of them? Or have they followed the process?
Yeah, no issues. All right, the zoning, the project as proposed is consistent with the C1 zoning district. It's consistent with the general plan designation, which on that property is local commercial. The size of the building is what triggers the use permit, not the use. But in this C1 zoning district, one can build up to a 5,000 square foot retail store as a use by right, no special use permit. Because this building is 9,100 square feet, that's the trigger for the use permit process. So that, and when you hear use permit, just think, okay, planning commission has to approve that. Cross development, our experience with them has been really good. The two stores in the north end of the county, I think on the Nice store, we were kind of harsh on these guys on the architectural design. I think we went through 3 or 4 different renderings or architectural designs on that store to get that dialed in. They were great every step of the way. They got us what we requested. Went through that on the materials on the Clear Lake Oak store as well, trying to dial in the rock fascia material that we were trying to get lined up similar to the rock wall we have on that historic section of the highway and the that plaza area in the Oaks. So they've been very responsive at getting the information we've needed. And I'm finding that to be the case on both this particular project in Middletown and the Middletown site as well.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
My name is Ryan Murray. I would like to ask a question, but would like to. We could have any box store up here we want, really, or any chain up here. We could have Whole Foods, we could have McDonald's, we could have. I'm sure any number of chains would like to find themselves here in Middletown. And I want to know what sets you guys apart from them. What do you pay? Health insurance. I'm more concerned about the employees than the customers, because honestly, the people that, work there mean the most in my eyes. So.
Let me ask you
before you start that, there are requirements on box stores. Rick can talk to you about that. There are requirements and restrictions on the size of box stores, just so you know.
Got it.
So let me back it up a little bit with the person that sits up back there. I run 8 stores, so I'm a district manager for 8 stores. Except for these 2 here, they're all different. They look different. I have one that's stucco. It just depends on what the community is. And as far as I know with Dollar General, and I don't speak for all of Dollar General, we work with the community, we work with the planning commission, we work with our developer, and whatever fits for the town. And usually the argument becomes between 2 groups in the town what they want it to look like. So we're pretty open for that, so thank you very much for that. For the people that we do have in there, it's usually based on, what kind of sales that we do. The 2 stores here, I'll tell you, we have anywhere from 10 to 12 people, half full-time, half part-time. Our starting wage starts at $9 an hour, goes up from there. We have medical, we have dental, we have vision, we have stock purchase that they can buy, and I encourage everybody to buy stock into whatever that's long-term, look for something long-term for the company. We even give discounts to our associates at different universities that they can get into. So we have a lot of different things. We also have a literacy program. Cal Turner, who started the company, was illiterate. And he taught himself how to read, and the company is huge on literacy. So we have our stores will talk about literacy all the time. But one of the things that we do different from other companies is everything that we take in literacy-wise, say in the community, comes right back to this community. It doesn't go anyplace else. And then we also look at grants that we look at schools for anywhere from elementary schools on up to high schools. We just gave a grant away to Riverside High School for $40,000 on new computers that they need. And that's something that's just big, and it's a value that we look at. It's not, I get the box store thing, I understand all that. But this is a company, and I can just tell you this personally, I know none of you know me. If I can't believe in the values of who I'm working for, I'm not going to go to work for them. And I know you don't know me from Adam. Literacy is a huge thing with me, and this is something that the company has just told me from day one, and I've seen it, I've lived it. So,
thank you for answering my question.
Thank you. Yeah, go ahead. Nate?
My name is Nate. I live in Cobb, but I work in Middletown community here. And my question is directed to the man on the end there. You are a publicly traded company?
Yes.
Okay. So your obligation is to your investors, not the community.
Well, let me ask you this. Who do you think our investors are? Let me tell you this why. Before I came to work for the company, I did what this gentleman over here said. I wanted to see what the company was. I liked it so much I started without bought stock before I went to work for it. And it was one of the first questions during my interview. I asked some of the questions about what are we doing as a company, this and that. And again, I want my people who work for me, work for Dollar General, I want them to make money. And I want them to look at something long term. And I asked them to show them how to get involved in stock purchase, and I wanted to. I'm just one of those people that believe it's out there, it should be open for people. And we're a company, yes, we're publicly traded, but we're owned by over, and don't quote me on this, over 140,000 people. Most of them are stockholders and just everyday people.
I have a second question as well. Before, earlier you spoke of that you put stores in similar communities to ours, and that you created economic growth in those
Not me
communities.
personally, but yeah.
Okay, fine. So what type of economic growth did you create in those
Let me ask you
similar
this. What do you think happens when you put, let's say, a successful store in a community? What do other businesses do? You ever notice when there's a Walmart, there's a Home Depot next to it in a lot of places? Yeah. These stores group together, and I'm not saying you're going to get a Walmart and a Home Depot and all that. What I am saying is, though, businesses like to be around businesses that are successful, and it brings in other businesses. I hope to get to a point, I hope for this community to get to a point where you're talking about other businesses that want to come in, and you decide which businesses you want to come in. But you've got them all lining up wanting to come in. Now, I'm not saying that happens in all cases, but I can tell you 3 of the communities that we're putting stores in. One is in Grass Valley. We're putting a second store in. There's 2, and it's in the front of a subdivision, just kind of real quick. It's been dying for years. I've lived in that town for 15 years. I know. In the last 2 months, 2 other businesses are now coming in there. And I really got to believe it's because we're also coming in there.
Now, are those also corporations, or are those small businesses?
One is a restaurant. I would say local because it's in the state. Another one is a national hardware store.
Because to follow up with what you're stating is I don't think that there's any businesses in this community that can operate on the same margins that you're operating on.
I'd be surprised at what we don't operate on a huge margin, and I bet most of the businesses don't. I've been doing this for over 35 years, and this is honestly what it comes down to. If say I live in a community and I've got one place to shop, and I'm not saying it's bad, it'd be a great place to shop. I'm dictated by what they want to sell and their prices and their customer service. You bring somebody else in and say the prices are about the same, say they're lower, some are higher. That gives that first business an opportunity to go, ooh, wait a minute. Maybe we do better in customer service. Maybe we need to do better in this. But who wins in the end? I hope the customer goes in and goes, I can decide where I want to shop. Who's going to give me the best service? Who's going to give me a better price? Or whatever they're shopping for. That's my whole point.
Okay, I want to caution us not to get involved in how they run their business. That's their business, okay? Our concern is whether or not we want a Dollar General in our town, not how they run their business.
Hi, I'm Tina Stewart, and I'm going to read it because I will get through it. I researched Dollar General. ConsumerAffairs.com reports the Dollar General has a 1-star rating. Is this really the kind of business we want in our town? They have received over 370 complaints in recent months.
No, wait a minute.
Come on.
We've got to get to it. We've got to get to a question.
Well, I'll get there super quick.
Okay.
Super quick.
We're not here to assassinate it.
I'm not.
You're going to have to ask the question.
I'm excited. Okay, so Middletown is a unique community made up of over 50 mom and pop run stores. Allowing Dollar General to set up in our town only asks locals to send their money out of state and support China-made products. I would like to ask the board to deny General Dollar access to our town. Otherwise, Middletown could become a ghost town with a general store at one end. My only question is to the audience. A show of hands of who does not want Dollar General in our town.
No, wait a minute, we're not at that point. Don't manipulate it. You know, the question should be. I understand, but this is for questions to these people here. This is not a platform for criticizing or getting a straw vote. That's not what this is about. Please be kind to each other and be kind to our guests. Okay? Oh, you have a question?
I do. My name's Ted Dunn. I live in the most neglected and underserved area of Middletown, Big Canyon. I also come from Texas, where I grew up with Dollar General like you guys. But I've made my own observation, and I'd like to ask you if what the opinion that I formulated is reflective of how you do business, right? All the years, decades that I've shopped at various Dollar Generals, it's been my observation that Dollar General goes out of its way to package, stock, sell items in such a manner that people who would otherwise not be able to afford them could in this store. In other words, you can buy a smaller quantity of something you couldn't afford at a bigger store. That you move into areas and you provide employment in underserved areas. And I'm just wondering, does this accurately reflect your business acumen?
I can only tell you from my experience. I know we don't package our own items,
so
I don't understand. I get that, and I think a lot of that has to do with how our buyers buy, because usually what we sell is the same type of packaging that someone else does. So I really can't answer that part of it. I know Cal Turner was really big about putting stores in underdeveloped areas, and it was set up as a convenience. That was the whole purpose of it. So an area that might be economically challenged and had to, say you had to travel 20 miles to go something, that's what he looked at when he put stores in, what they originally did when they put locations in. It was designed for that. That is really all I can tell you.
Good, thank you. Way in the back, yes ma'am, your name?
Ann Rubin, Hidden Valley Lake. My question is about the percentage of full-time employees versus part-time. What's your business model with that?
It depends on the sales, and based on what I think these store sales are going to do. I can tell you that the knee store and the Clearlake store are doing better than what we thought, so that's good. They've stayed with some extra help. It's usually about 40% full-time, 40-45% full-time.
Anybody else up here? Okay, at this point we're going to stop just for a second before we get to you. I read the Rosenberg's Rules of Order, and I'm allowed to ask a question. So I want to ask a question with a follow-up. I did the whole all the way down.
No.
You were dozing off. I said, any more questions from this side?
Raising their hands back
Okay,
there.
wait.
Okay, I'm ready.
Is there any more questions from this side? Listen to me carefully so you won't make a mistake. Okay. Is there any more questions from this side? Okay, go ahead. Name?
My name is Lisa Kaplan and I live here. And my question is, well, I have several questions. So
No, you're going to ask one
I'll
question,
start with
Lisa.
the one that concerns me the most, which is connected to what Linda asked.
Can you stand up?
Oh, that's given that you have these stores near schools, are you at all considering and aware of the influence and impact that they'll have on kids, teens in particular, who don't have much to do in small rural areas like this, and how they might then waste their money on disposable items rather than learn better? Now, they don't have necessarily all the faculties or the abilities to make decisions the way that us grown-ups are supposed to be able to, because they're enticed by stuff. So and it's cheap. So my question is, have you looked into this impact, and do you care?
I'm not going to give you my personal view on it, because I'll probably agree with you on my personal views on it. I have 3 children. So So my personal views are different than, I don't know what the company's views are. I do know if somebody came in, say, a child and tried to buy alcohol, they're not gonna get away with it. If somebody who's 91 came in and buy alcohol, didn't have a driver's license, they couldn't buy it either. So we do card. Now, if it's on any other thing, like whatever they're gonna buy, I can't police that. That's not for me. It's not for my store. So if you're looking at because of the, if I understand your question right, because of the vicinity to how close it is.
And more than one.
Okay. I do know that when we do place stores, and again, I don't know how the system works, it does not look at school and say, oh, here's a school. Do we place it by it or away from it? The school doesn't really factor into where we place it.
Okay, thank you. Do you have a question?
I do have a question.
Name?
My name is Janice. I live in Anderson Springs, which is part of the Middletown area. And my question kind of relates to some of the questions back here about the employees and full-time, part-time. And you said that approximately 40% typically is full-time. So do those part-time people also get insurance, holiday, sick pay, all those extra benefits?
No.
Yeah. So for $9 an hour, how are they going to buy stock options and all this other stuff?
What if they didn't work for us? What would they do?
Well, I don't know what they would do. That's not my question.
Right.
I was asking you about it.
Sure. I don't tell them what they can do. We offer a job. This is the job that we offer. What they can take it or not.
So you're very low supporting people.
Before, you've already asked a question? Yes.
No, I haven't. No.
You haven't? All right, go ahead, Monica.
Monica Rosenthal. I was just curious, have you looked at other locations in Middletown? Or how did you come to select this location?
So we're given through Dollar General and our broker a specific area to purchase a piece of property in it, and we pursue pretty much every piece of available property that is for sale, and sometimes not for sale. And it's strictly based on response from the person willing to sell the property. In particular, on this piece of property, the owner was willing to sell the piece of property. Now we're doing a parcel map, so we're only buying a portion of the property. The rest will be retained by her, by that individual. But to answer your question, that's typically how we do it. We find a seller who's willing to sell us a piece of property, and if it's within the parameters of where Dollar General would prefer their store to be, we pursue that piece of property. And a lot of other factors go in: cost, viability of the site. Can it be developed? I mean, if it's on a mountain, we probably aren't going to pursue it. But if it's a flat piece of property, like this one is, then it's a little bit more ideal for the development. It boils down to availability of the property.
So right now it's just that one property. So, but have you explored others? Have you discussed with other potential?
You look for putting more stores, or just in determining what piece of property we're going to buy?
What piece of property? Because I understand, or at least from the comments made through STEM, you kind of targeted Middletown as a potential location for the store. But then within Middletown, there are various within the Middletown area, which also includes Hidden Valley and Middletown. Did you explore other sites, other property owners, or was this just the one site?
Our broker actually comes. So when we're given a area to go explore, say Middletown, for example, our broker and a representative from our office, and typically a representative from Dollar General, will drive the area, and they will look at all of the property that potentially could be a good spot for a store. Relatively flat, good location, good visibility, good traffic, all that. And then they'll come back to us and say, okay, here's the 1, 2, 3, 8 sites we would like to look at. We pursue them all and then land on the one that's just the best fit for the property.
So I guess my question is just, were there other sites that were explored?
We pursued other sites in Middletown, yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Name?
My name's Charles Morris. The site is, it's fine by me for the site, but I don't know how deep you guys go into it at this phase. The creek is used to be called Trout Creek, now it's Santa Helena Creek. We have a huge trout run that comes through every year. And anything can affect trout. They're extremely sensitive. Water temperature, oil, so much car leaking. Most folks, a lot of folks don't have cars that don't leak oil. Anything is going to, have an impact on that creek, which is going to really hurt us. It is kind of a concern that you have this site and you're going to bring in probably a lot of good business and a lot of great things are going to happen to this community. But have you already looked into that and what you're going to do to fix that or make sure it doesn't happen?
It's kind of, I guess, a two-part answer. As Rick mentioned earlier, the county will do an actual environmental report. They will actually go through the CEQA process of determining all the impacts of our developments. So yes, we've looked at that. We also have our site is positioned on the farthest edge west away from the creek, mainly partly because the owner preferred us to be over there. It's a better developed area. The approach coming equal laterally across from the church, so it all lines up nicely. And probably the biggest thing is, and I may get this a little wrong, state stormwater guidelines require us to retain almost all the water we actually discharge. So it's basically a negative. It's basically a net zero discharge of our stormwater onto the state right of way or into the other areas. So all of the water, the parking lots, the gutters, everything will drain into detention basins that we hold on site. And so that's how we'll mitigate most of everything that would potentially get to the creek.
Okay, thank you. I have a question regarding, I have a map here of the building, how it sets on the site. If you've driven through town, you'll see that most of the buildings are up very close to the highway. As a matter of fact, most of the buildings are right up against the property line of Caltrans. In other words, Caltrans owns the sidewalks on both sides, and the building's set up very close. The one exception is Tri-County's Bank. Okay, this shows the building setting way back against the back part of the property, and a big parking lot in front. And the area plan, when we worked on it for the last, what has it been, 6, 7 years, we wanted to try to, any businesses that come in, try to fit in with what we have. And would Crosspoint be willing to talk to us about maybe changing the design somewhat so that we don't have, we drive up the highway and see a giant parking lot there and then the building at the back? Would you rather, we'd rather see maybe the building up near the front so it fits in with the rest of the town, and maybe the parking in some other kind of configuration. Would you be willing to talk about that?
I can discuss kind of why the site was laid out the way it was. So we've looked at it. We actually had a meeting with the county, phone call this week. And so we are considering trying to reduce parking. Dollar General has a specific parameter of parking spots they want to see on their property for their customers to be able to use. Part of the biggest issue with when we lay out a site is the size of the site, the depth, the width, and the delivery truck. The truck's got to be able to get into the site, turn around, back up to the delivery dock, and be able to get out safely without, running over cars and getting off the property. And given this site and its depth, really the best location for the store is set back off of the highway. Just because the truck's got to come in order for it to hit the delivery door, I can't change the layout of a Dollar General store. I can dress it up outside, make the facade look different, change some landscaping, but as far as the actual layout of the store, delivery doors have to stay where their floor planned at. It's all part of the process. But to answer your question, can we redesign the site to store in front? We looked at that already when we first started. The truck can't make the turn. We'd have to buy more land, which is actually going to take up more space, which is actually going to, it makes it a less desirable development at that point. But we can do things like landscaping that will soften the look. We can, if we are allowed to reduce parking, which I'm pursuing that, we can reduce some asphalt, which will make the parking spot look a little less big black hole. But
I don't think our question is necessarily the number of spaces, but rather the look. that we're going to be driving by 4 or 5 times a day. My other question is, we have turn lanes going into this property, and I guess that's required by Caltrans. But my question is, you're using half the land. What happens to the other part of the land if we have a high traffic entity that comes in and they buy that and they have 1,000 cars a day that does their business? What happens to our little our turn lanes and all that? Is that something that they would have to face?
Correct.
Yeah.
Each case by case, each project's going to go through the traffic
they're on their
studies,
own.
and
They'll know what
if they trigger warrants for additional improvements, they'd have to do it. I mean, Dollar General's triggering warrants for some Caltrans frontage improvements as part of his store, but somebody comes along that's even way bigger on the parcel next door, they're going to have to.
Let me regress back to this parking lot in front, because I think that's going to be an important issue for the community, is what this thing's going to look like. And before I think we want to start saying yeah or no. We'd like to know, what would you do to soften the look of this parking lot? I'm not interested in looking at a parking lot. I've seen those. And if we could somehow shield it, or if you would disguise it, or do something to make it look less like a parking lot with a store at the back end, I think we'd have a better shot of making everyone smile, rather than throwing firebombs at you. Okay?
Yeah,
Is that something you look at?
I mean, we'll look at it. I can't make a laptop look different, but I can landscape. We can do different things to soften the look without.
Okay.
Yes. Pretty much we just don't want dirt.
Okay, Ken, we're going right down the road here.
My name's Ken Gonzalez. I'm Secretary of Math, live here in town the last 6 or 7 years. And I have a copy of the Middletown Area Plan that came from the Lake County Community Development Department. And Richard Coel, you're obviously in this, along with David Rosenthal. And one part of it has to do with parking. And if place parking behind buildings when it's possible, like Richard was just talking about. And also all these little tabs are things that I think would mitigate a lot of your design that you have presented and already given us over here at Nice and Clear Lake Oaks. So Richard, I don't know why you allow them to not do any landscaping, in my opinion, or allow this kind of design when the Middletown area, well, they don't have these requirements.
It's a different area plan, and there is landscaping there.
And so, like I was trying to say, they don't have an area plan. We do.
No,
I hope you adhere to it. I know you did.
That's a whole county area plan.
Well, Middletown area plan. It's the Middletown area plan.
Right.
And I really hope that you look at it very closely and make the cross-point
And of course I am. And it's the Planning Commission's decision to approve these
right
projects.
Question?
So can I complete my response to that?
Of course, I'm sorry.
Yeah, you're kind of comparing apples and oranges there when you've got a different area plan with different design criteria. The Planning Commission served as the design review authority for both the Nice and Clear Lake Oaks stores, and we did a policy review. And what you're looking at is immature landscaping on a brand new site that still has to grow in. Now for Middletown, and for this project, we're still reviewing that application. And we had a conference call that lasted about an hour and a half, just yesterday actually, talking about design, talking about policy consistency. We're still reviewing this application. So my staff and I are adhering to the county adopted policies, the Middletown Area Plan, General Plan, zoning ordinance, all of those things that are required, and trying to hone this application in before it's considered complete and scheduled for hearings.
Okay, we're going to start back.
She had a question.
I'll just ask you if you had a question.
I said, but I wanted
okay.
to
Go
let
ahead.
him finish his response before I jump into my
Okay.
question. So my question is, I'm Charlotte. To start with, I live here in Middletown. So 2 months ago or something, we had a vote here, and the meeting was a little bit bigger than this, and everybody except for 2 or 3 people was against Dollar General store to come here. So I wonder, has any communities around the country protested enough to make you change your plans and not establish yourself in that community?
You asking me?
Yeah.
Not that I know of. I've talked to several communities that I know, and you know, I understand their concerns, and a lot of it is they didn't want a dollar store. I was able to answer a lot of their questions, but I don't think the outcome had anything to do really with what I was. But I don't know. I can't give you the answer to this.
Thank you.
So so it doesn't matter how much no the community say, you still want to come here?
This is all we're. I basically Dollar General leaves that, I guess, to the community.
Okay, thank you. We're going to start back this way for the second go-round. If you have a second question, please don't ask the same question that we've already heard the
I'd like
answer
to table item 4. No, I'm just kidding. Tom Dorns again. My question is, this area has got quite a history of Native American people, and I know that in the field of the Diamond D across the way, there's stuff that's natural history and artifacts. When they do the groundwork, is there going to be some kind of cultural or what do you call it? What's that?
Archaeological.
Yeah, archaeological maintenance going on. You know, are they paying attention to that stuff? Because even Caltrans was doing it up the highway just the other day on 175.
That's covered in part of in the environmental analysis on the front end and through permit conditions of approval during construction. In all likelihood, these folks would be required to enter into a monitoring agreement for a tribal monitor to be present while they're trenching for utilities and foundation work and things like that. This site's a little unique in that it's going to, if this store is built here, it's going to require a significant amount of fill to elevate that site, which kind of protects and caps any unrecorded resources that could be there. But for any groundwork they do that disturbs the ground that's there now, there will be monitoring.
Well, when they built this building, you know that they dug down way deep. They didn't need to, but they dug down way deep to compress the soil and then brought the soil up and raised the building 3 or 4 feet. So are they going to do the same elevation over there?
Well, we'll find out when we get the geotechnical reports if the project moves forward. And if that's the case, then if any of that disturbance of the existing soil will be monitored. The Middletown Rancheria has requested monitoring, and we've honored that, and you know, we think it's a good request, and we include that in permit conditions and have been for, it's relatively new, but it's been refined over the last year or so countywide. It's required on most new projects.
And are those rules for the compression of the ground 95% or whatever, are they going to be the same there as they were here for this building because of the county
different building? No idea until we see what the engineered, you know, the geotechnical report and engineers tell us needs to be done.
Thank you.
Thank you. Linda?
Linda Deal-Darms. My question is for Rick. I know that part of having businesses come into the county generates revenue through property tax and the business supply and equipment tax and sales tax. And so I know we need revenue in our county to run it and those kinds of things. But my question is two-part. Have you talked to the businesses, the small businesses that are in the towns that currently have Dollar Generals to see if it has negatively impacted their business? And have you looked at the small businesses here to see if they needed to close, if some of them needed to close, would the generation of revenue from Dollar General make up the difference? Is that something that's looked at?
Well,
that's my question.
I can only answer part of that. The niece store, I did talk to a business owner immediately across the street from that store. I spoke with him about 3 weeks ago. asked him how things were going with that store, and he says it's been going good. In fact, I've got more foot traffic into my store since Dollar General opens. And even though he's selling some of the same items, he carries the high-end items versus the more affordable of the same product. And he says it's not hurting him one bit. So I have that's the one example I have. In terms of Middletown, no, we haven't done that kind of a review of the local businesses. I mean, excuse me. I look at these stores as they're providing a service that, in most cases, in the case of Nice and Clear Lake Oaks, largely those items are not being sold in those towns. And in those towns, we have a number of people who don't have access to transportation other than through Lake County Transit. So their alternative was to go to Clear Lake at Walmart or Lakeport at Middletown.
Right.
And I think that's part of the reason that those two stores have been so, I think, more successful than you guys had planned on. So, you know, it is serving a function in those towns. There was a need there.
Thank you.
You're probably aware that this is an economically repressed area, and what that means is, I believe the last survey they did, the per capita income was approximately $16,000, which obviously means a very limited amount of disposable income, a limited amount that can be spent. So I think, you know, one of the many concerns is, as a corporation, someone pointed out you're publicly traded, what % of your net income is actually going to end up back in this community? Because there isn't a lot to be spent, and it needs to be recycled here.
I don't answer that. I don't know. I know those records are publicly available because it's a publicly traded company. But I think, like what they were saying earlier, it's just what we're going to provide just the tax revenue based on our sales and based on our inventory levels. Also provide some of that. We'll give back to the community that way. I don't know what those dollars are. Those are something you can get from going to anywhere you can get those records for.
Thank you.
And in the back there first.
Diane Tully, who is the current owner of the property, and how much percentage of it are they retaining? You said they were keeping part of it.
You guys probably know who owns the property. I don't know if they would want me to
I'm asking
announce
because
it.
I don't. Should be at a public record.
Then they can look it up with the public
Yeah,
record.
I don't, you know, my relationship with the seller is strictly their seller we're buying. Roughly, to the second part of the question, about 2/3 of the property is going to be retained by the seller. We're going to have approximately 1 acre on our, and it's about a 3-acre site, roughly.
Thank you.
Yes.
When people are traveling from, I'm Tracy, sorry, Middletown. When people are traveling from Hidden Valley into the store, when they want to turn left, are they going to be stopping and then everyone has to stop behind them? Or is there going to be a specific turn lane for that so traffic will keep?
So we have initial comments from Caltrans on what they would like to see there, but there's no Caltrans permit that's been applied for yet, so there's no specific design of what's actually going to happen there. But at a minimum, there'll be a left turn lane pocket for them to pull into so through traffic can continue to go. That's what we've been told at a minimum. So we've designed our site around that. We've actually, I think these are older site plans. We've actually changed to a center channelization for the width. So we now have a continuous left turn lane because they were concerned about people being turned to the church. Pretty sure it's going to be mostly on Sunday, but so yeah, it's changed a little bit. But to answer your question, yes, there'll be a left turn area so through traffic can continue.
Well, that church is also a school.
Right.
So it won't be just Sunday.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes,
Craig
sir.
Eve. I got a question for Mark. You'd mentioned that when the Dollar General comes in, other businesses come in, and you know they like to be around other businesses that are successful. I don't know if you could answer my question, but I'd be willing to give you my email address if you could find out. But what I would like to know is if there's a number of when you guys come into a small town like ours, how many mom and pop businesses go away? Because that's the concern. We've got all these businesses up and down the street, and if you do come in, are half of them going to be gone? Do you have any numbers at all of the negative on your side? The positive is you bring business in, you do all this kind of, you do good things, you bring other businesses. The negative for you guys is how many businesses you close, or how many businesses go away, small business, mom and pops.
What do you think causes those businesses to go away?
Coming to you for a cheaper product?
That's one reason.
One, yeah.
That's one. There's a list of reasons, but I mean, if you do have lower price items, and like you just said, the other store, the other store has higher end stuff, and his business isn't affected. So you do have the lower price things. So you are going to draw business. So you are going to draw away from what's going on. But that's the number I'm kind of curious about.
Sure. Yep, let me have your email address when we're done, and I'll see what I can find for you and get it to you, because I don't know, I haven't seen it.
Okay.
Like they were mentioning earlier, I've actually gone to some of the stores, the new stores that we have, and this is and I know it's not going to be that way everywhere. I get that, but I know a lot of the businesses around my stores, and I go talk to them. I want to know. And I go there, I tell them who I am, and just say, can I ask you about your business? How's it doing? How's it affecting? And for the majority that do talk to me, they are seeing more foot traffic. Now, I don't know if they're getting more sales. I try to get those numbers. Sometimes they don't get to. Yeah. But at least, tell me how your foot traffic, what's going on. And I have encouraged my managers at times, get to know the people and the other businesses around you. Because what likely happens is, say somebody comes in for some sort of particular, and I don't have it. Well, Jake across the street might have it, so what do you think I've asked my managers to do? See if Jake's got it for him across the street, It's there. I don't know what those numbers are that you're talking about. Okay. Yes, businesses do go out of business. I get that. But also, it provides an economic growth for around that area and more foot traffic around the area. And that's something I like to look at positively, but I don't know the other numbers. So provide me the email address. I'll do what I can do.
Okay. Good. Going back. Yes, ma'am. Name?
My name is Fairley, and I represent cottage industry because I have a cottage food operation. So I feel like I represent the essence of what people want Middletown to be. And I don't feel like your store does that. And so what I want you to clarify for me is, you use this term, economic growth. Who is it for? If you're only paying part-time people $9 an hour, how are people who live here going to benefit? I don't get it. And if other stores that are attracted are these bigger chains, again, how are people here going to benefit? I don't get it. This is called math. I can't do that math. It doesn't add up.
I can't give you specifics. I can only tell you. I can only tell you, go out and talk to the businesses around some of these other stores, whether they're Dollar General or whatever, and they'll tell you what they see, what they feel, what's going on. I can't tell you down to detail what people are doing with their dollars or what's going on, but I do know economic growth is caused by businesses, whether they're cottage or big box or whoever, going into a location where people can shop. I don't know always who are those people shopping. A lot of your people are tourists that come in here too to shop. We look at things. We're not a big box retailer. We are a local entity. The people that we hire are local to the community and the surrounding areas that we do. People have a choice where they want to shop. That's all we give them. It's for convenience.
Thank you. Yes. Go ahead. Oh, wait a minute. This lady is first.
She's been raising her hand for a long time. Me?
Yes, please. Your name?
Julie Crease, and I wanted to ask, how does Dollar General help our community economically when I believe it's about 90% of your products are from China, and I think I've seen that many of them end up in a landfill within like a year. And so how does it help our communities that the majority of the products are from China, where people work for a few cents an hour?
I don't have the numbers, but I know our majority are from China, so I don't know where you got those figures. You're more than welcome to go into the other two Dollar Generals and find 90% of the products if you think they're from China. If they're going into landfills, that's what people are doing with them. I can't decide on what people need to do or where they go. I know that the bags that we carry in some locations already there are some communities that the bag ordinance that you saw in California is in effect in certain communities. In those communities, we have bags that are designed to break down environmentally for those communities for it. So economically, what we need to do, environmentally we do.
In other words, the cottage industry, people that make things even in California, the United States, would be nice if you sold those things. The only other thing was like about the wage for the employees, like just hiring somebody to work in your yard. You know, you pay them $10 to $15 an hour, so your wage is up. Have you heard of a livable wage? You know, it's becoming a big issue that people get paid enough to actually live on and pay their rent.
There are other things that go into livable wages that I won't get into here. If you want me to teach an economic class, I'm more than happy to, but that's not what we're here for to do tonight. So what I will tell you is we provide a service. This is the service that we provide for a person who wants it.
Okay.
Sorry.
Ma'am, wait back, yes. Name?
Question to
Your name?
gentleman, Renata Jaworska. I live in Middletown. I have a question to planning committee gentlemen. I just wanted to clarify, because Charlotte asked the question, Martin asked the question, and we never, maybe I missed it, but I didn't get the straight answer. What's the decision like when you make this decision about communities and planning? And overwhelmingly, people reject this, right? And we keep asking questions like, what is decision based? I understand that you're going to get your studies, you're going to get your paperwork, you're going to get your design, and all these other things. Does community have something to say? Like what is going to happen in their town?
Do I need to explain that again?
I think you do.
Okay, so I'll explain that again. The Planning Commission, appointed by the Board of Supervisors, is the decision-making body. My department and I are staff. We work for the county. We prepare the environmental analysis. We write up the staff report. We, beat on the heads of the developers when necessary to try to get them to alter designs or comply with policies of the local area plans, the general plan, the zoning ordinance. But ultimately, it's not my decision. It's not my staff's decision. It's the decision of the Planning Commission. And then the Board of Supervisors, if an appeal of the Planning Commission's decision is filed with the Board of Supervisors. So, from your perspective, your concerns would need to be expressed to the Planning Commission during the hearing or before the hearing process, once the legal notice goes out. And then if this ends up in front of the Board of Supervisors as an appeal, then again express your concerns to the Board of Supervisors at that time.
Do they really take communities' voice under consideration?
They take everybody's concerns under consideration, has been my experience, both the Planning Commission and the Board. They have to listen to all sides. They have to look at policy consistency. They have to look at the needs of the community. They need to listen to the concerns of members of the community.
Can I add something?
Wait, over here, we're still on this side. Right here, ma'am. Yeah.
Susan
Name?
Bennett, are those meetings in the daytime?
Yes.
And how long will they let us know?
The legal notices go out at least 20 days before the hearing.
And where do they go? In the paper?
They go in the Record B. They are also sent out to all the adjoining property owners. And if Matt, yeah,
we get a notice.
Is there any way we could have that meeting here?
You need to. That's a decision for the Board of Supervisors
Okay.
to make on changing venue for public hearings.
Because it's real hard to get in the daytime. Right.
I agree.
I work there. I can't.
Okay, I understand.
Come around this way. Let's go back to the front. Monica, go ahead.
Well, Monica Rosenthal, I just wanted to add something to what Rick Howell was saying and to what Ken had brought up about the Middletown Area Plan, which was approved in 2011 and what was that, a 5 to 7 year process. So, and that kind of is also where all of this planning begins, when that plan is developed and set in place for about 20 years before it's reviewed again. But that took about 5 to 7 years to go over and had quite a bit of public input
into it also, which kind of gives the outline of the policies for what's to happen in this town. So I'm just stating, you know, this is even beyond what we have right here in front of us. This started a while ago. So with the formation, with the production here in the Middletown area plan. But, and again, I would encourage everybody to get involved in that process because it starts there. So,
Monica, will you elaborate on MATH having its continuing meetings on Middletown area plan as we develop Middletown proper, like the park and all of that, we have a plan and we talk about it at MATH and we put in for grants and support from the state and government and all that, and that's part of the process. If we had this many people at our organizational meeting, it would really help because we could speak with a bigger voice at the Board of Supervisors. So watch for MATH's announcement because we do talk about the plan for Middletown a lot. Yes, sir.
All right. Ted Dunn again from the underserved and neglected area of Decatur. I'll give you an opportunity to jump in here. Some of the people have just been beating around the bush about. As a person who has been recently looking for work and going to all the job things from the state, you know, from WIA and from Workforce, and there are no jobs in Middletown, zero, zip, nada. How many jobs do you have to offer to this community that heretofore has nothing to offer anybody? Yeah, I know you're going to create some jobs. How many?
12 to 16.
Very good.
How many?
12 to 16.
We'll start out with 12 to 16, and depending on what our sales do, we'll either go up or down.
But a lot of them are part-time, right?
I'm going to go all the way to the back, the guy back there, because I don't think he's, yeah, with the glasses, you have to ask him questions. I'm older, I'm 76 years old, I'm not allowed to make those guys.
I live and work here in Middletown, and my question is related to a bunch of it. There's a lot of overlap, especially with the man who just spoke. 12 to 16 jobs. How many full-time?
He answered that.
40%.
Yeah, he answered that question.
40%. Well, maybe.
So I want to come back to something that was said earlier, which is that the way that they do business is not our concern. I believe that the way they do business is very much our concern. If we have 12 to 16 jobs, most of which are part-time, no benefits, no benefits at all. That means that we've got a bunch of people here in Middletown making $9 an hour. They're still on Medi-Cal. They're still on food stamps because it's not a livable wage. So how about we have 10 full-time jobs that would actually contribute to this community? It's, you know, I could go on. I won't.
Okay, may I ask you a question?
Yes.
Is your philosophy that we should tell Dollar General how much they should pay their people? Is that what you're saying?
I think that in a community this small, where there is a real aesthetic, there's a real cottage industry aesthetic here. This is a small town, and we all value that it's a small, beautiful town, right?
Of course.
We open the door to this kind of business, it's going to completely change our community. And damn straight, we should have a say in how they do their business. Damn I have a further question. Thank you, Rick, very much for clarifying the process in terms of going before the commission and then the board of supervisors, and we will be there saying that we don't want this. We will. But if this store gets built anyway, will Dollar General be a good neighbor to this community? Will there be a forum where we get to say, okay, you're here, we accept it, but can we have more full-time jobs with benefits instead of all these part-time jobs with no benefits? could maybe we have a section that is selling things made by local craftspeople? Can we change the proportion of Chinese versus American-made products? I mean, these are large, these are...
Yeah, thank you very much.
We're living in the grassroots right here. Change happens here.
I understand. Thank you very much. Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Yeah, so I mean, can we
I
have...
don't even know what the question is yet.
Can we, but my question is, if this goes through, if against all our will this goes through, will there be a forum for us to have a conversation with your corporation so that you can be good neighbors to us?
No, the answer is no.
Because it's traded publicly.
Let me ask you something. It isn't just me personally. What is a business in business for?
Make money.
Why does it make money?
Capitalism.
Makes money for people. That's what it's for. So if they can't make money, why do they stay in business, right? That's all. I understand, believe me, I understand your point of view, I really do.
And I think
we have a business model that we use as a company.
I understand, and I just think that your business model doesn't fit my community.
Right.
I have a quick question.
You only got a few minutes.
Okay, your design is set up so that the trucks can come in. Can I have an estimate as to how many trucks are going to be coming in every day?
One truck a week.
One truck a week?
Yeah, now we do have some communities where they have restrictions. I have one store that has a restriction that the truck is in a strip mall. And the truck can only come in between 6 and 8 o'clock in the morning. Trucks are between 6 and 8 o'clock in the morning, depending on what the local ordinances are. You know, we're here to abide by the local ordinances and the way the way the store looks, how we, and certain things of the outside of how we operate. We're going to do what's best for what we in the community for what they want.
I have a quick question also.
No. Back there. You wait your turn. Okay, go ahead. You had a question back there?
Me now?
Yes.
Yes.
Stand up, Lynn.
My name is Lynn Norton, and this is for Mr. Coyle. If Dollar General follows and it follows all the right criteria to be approved 100% by you, your department, does the
By the planning commission.
Does the board of supervisors still have the final say so?
If it's appealed, the board of supervisors have the final say.
And you'll be notified that there's been an appeal, and then you have an opportunity to go before the board of supervisors.
And the board of supervisors, they elected or?
You have a question there?
Yeah, but you said the site is 1 acre and the building is 9,000 square feet. How much of the acre is that? I don't know
It's about the same size as the other two stores.
Yeah, I mean, an acre is 43,500
It's a quarter. It's not quite a quarter of the...
Less than a quarter.
So a quarter of the piece of property will be a building.
Less than a quarter.
And then there's the parking lot and
For scale, the Walmart in Clear Lake is, I believe, 109,000 or 120,000 square feet. This is, well, I try to avoid it too, but this is 9,100 square feet. So it's about 1/15 or 1/13 the size of a typical Walmart.
Yeah, I don't shop at Walmart.
Lisa?
So this is actually the third meeting that some of us have come to regarding this, because the second one we didn't discuss it because someone number was here. So what I want to know is attached to other people. I want to know what will it take for this community to be able to stop this project? And how many days of work do we need to miss in order to make that happen?
You should ask your board of supervisors representative, Jim
Okay.
Comstock.
Okay. We got about 5 more minutes, and that's going to be it. Go ahead, ma'am.
I just had a question for, I think it's Mr. Coyle. If people did want to appeal the decision by the planning commission, is there a fee involved?
$407 is the filing fee for an appeal to the Board of Supervisors, and it would need to be filed within 7 days of the Planning Commission decision on the permit. And that cuts both ways. If the commission denies the project, the applicant has the right to appeal to the board just as much as neighbors have the right to appeal on a project that's approved.
Linda?
Linda Deal Darms. I would just really like to thank all three of you for being here, and especially the Dollar General gentleman, I didn't catch your name, but
Mark.
from the agenda, it didn't appear as though you were coming at all. It was just gonna be the developer.
We didn't know.
Oh, we didn't know. And so for me personally, I kind of felt like you were hiding behind the developer and we would not get to talk to you, so thank you for coming.
You mentioned these things.
I'm going to give both Joe and Mark, and if Rick wants to, a chance to close. And we'll start with Joe, since he's the developer. The guy we want to, you know.
I mean, I don't think there's much else to say other than thank you for all of this, for inviting me to come. It's not as painful as some made it sound out it was going to be. It's all valuable information, and I get it. Coming from a small town in Texas, you know, I grew up with Dollar General, so I didn't know any different. I shop there to this day. Eat the food they sell, buy the products they sell. It's a good store. It's why they're one of our clients. It's because they're a great company. I do think there's value to the community in unforeseen ways, tax dollars, things like that, jobs. We can go on and on. We've talked about it. There's going to be varying opinions for and against it. I get it. As a developer, we're going to work closely with Rick and the community group to make sure the store lays out as best as we can. It's visually appealing. It follows the Middletown plan in the closest possible aspect that we can. We do work within budgets, so I mean we can't do crazy things, but we can do pretty much everything that Rick has asked us to do so far. And that's our goal. Our goal is to deliver a building and that is pleasing to the community. You may not like the actual, entity involved with the store, but our goal is to deliver a great store for a great client for a community that is in desperate need of this product. So, and
steady.
We want you here. We want you.
Okay.
Okay.
Poor choice of words.
Exceptional talent, exceptional speaker.
Thank you. Wait. Joe, Mark, you want to make your closing?
Just kind of real quick, I do appreciate your passion for what you believe. I really do. I hope nobody took anything personal I said. If you did, I apologize. It's not that way at all. I'm passionate about Dollar General. I'm passionate about the things that we do. Some of you who don't know us, I understand. I would be the same way. It tells me you care about your community. I love that. Whether we come in or not, if you want to check out my other 2 stores, check them out. If you have an issue, they'll call me, they'll talk to me. I'm more than happy to talk to any of you at any time about it. We're still neighbors. We still live close. Even though I live in Grass Valley, I still come out here quite a bit. It's good to actually come down and see what the town looked like. So I'm here to help. So whatever I can help you guys with, let me know. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Everyone just relax for a minute. You don't have anything to say? Would you just go over one more time? The process. And assure that they will have a chance to speak in the
Absolutely. And when we look at these projects, when we look at all projects, we look at the policies of the general plan and the local area plan. And those documents are loaded with policies. And we look at the environmental, the community identity, the economic development concerns, the needs of the community. And I know, when we were going through that painful several years of developing the updates of the Middletown area plan, one of the big concerns in this area was what they called commercial leakage. You have very little in the way of commercial development in this portion of the county that supports the population. I mean, just look at Hidden Valley Lake. There's 6,500 to 6,700 people between Hidden Valley Lake and the ranchos, and you have one small commercial area right now. So, there's an opportunity for any business coming into this area to capture not just the local traffic that is otherwise going to Walmart in Clear Lake or over to the hill to Santa Rosa, but to be able to start shopping more locally. And that is something that the policies, let me finish, the policies in the area plan do talk about that. We spent considerable time looking at that issue and the traffic impacts and trying to find ways to create more local jobs. And I'm not saying that this store is going to solve the local jobs problems by any stretch of the imagination, but it is, when you look at the tax dollars and where they're going, the sales tax revenues in the South County, most of it leaves the county. It's not spent here. So that has to be factored in when these projects are reviewed and considered ultimately by the Board of Supervisors.
I'm
Okay.
truly curious, how do
Thank
we
you
know
very-
that all these
Kimberly,
projects?
you mind? Thank you very much. I'm going to close the discussion on item 4, I think it is, and go to item 5, which you probably don't care about at all, except that it's, yeah, I know, you don't care about anything other than the Dollar General. But we are going to have a chili cook-off here, and its first prize is $1,000. The salsa is $500. We're going to have it out here. It's going to be a square dance, line dancing. We have about 25 vendors that are going to be selling some of the art and crafts that are made here locally.
That's local stuff.
If you have time, please drop down. There'll be a barbecue, and it'll be a fun time for everyone, I hope. Huh?
Supports the seniors.
Yes, and you should know, all profit, all money goes to the senior center. Noon. Coming noon, yeah. Okay, what time is it?
It's Saturday.
Saturday the 16th. And it starts about 10 to 11, 12, whatever. You want to, they'll be cooking chili here, and the contest will end about noon, and we'll make the award at 2 o'clock, at which time we'll start square dancing, line dancing. We'll have bands from Cobb and from Harbin playing most of the day. A lot of different artists will be here. We're going to have a good time. Please come and participate. All the profits go toward the senior center. And I just want to say a couple things. We asked for donations. Steve Bell, $500 out of his pocket. Lovey, Dave Bell. Sorry. Lovey's is 500. Browning.
250.
And a lot of them. They'll all be listed.
How much did General Dollar pitch in?
Yeah. Environmental waste product.
Annual. So anyway, I won't even answer that.
So, again, my name is Charlotte. I'm in charge over organizing the vendors part of the chili cook-off that Fletcher is talking about. Our call for vendors has officially closed, but if you have something you want to sell, like arts and crafts, come and talk to me. Cannot be edible products. Some of them, come and talk to me, maybe. So it's on Saturday, yeah, just so you know.
It'll be a fun day. It'll be very busy all day, and it'll be fun. Come down and participate. Support the senior center. Our seniors need the help, and they just do a lot of things. Meals on Wheels. Their outsourcing of the food is just tremendous, and they need our help. So please come down, help us out. Matt is the official starter of this project, but Senior Center is a beneficiary, and we're happy to do it for them. Okay? With that, I'm going to, yes.
Will there be something to drink?
Oh, I'm sorry. She's a recovering alcoholic. No, she's handling. She's absolutely right. I forgot all about it. We're doing wine tasting and beer tasting. The brewery is going to be furnishing the beer for beer tasting, and we have about six vineyards. Monica, about 6 different people are going to donate wine.
Yes, I know.
So,
Local from
all local. We didn't go to Napa Valley. We didn't go to Napa Valley for any wine. We do it here. So, am I missing anything? Okay, good. Agenda for June 11th, we'll be working on. If you have an agenda item, contact King Gonzalez, and he'll put it before the board and we'll see if we can get it on the agenda. June's gonna be pretty busy because I think we're going to do that,
The GI.
the GI thing. She's gonna give us an update and there's a couple other things, so we'll see whether we have any space on it. I wanna thank you for coming. I think overall, you guys were great. You're passionate. I'm passionate about Middletown. I have a vision in my mind of what Middletown should be. And this park fits in with it, and we want the rest of it to be the same. Come to Math. We need your support. We're putting in for a grant to do a trail from Central Park all the way to the Rancheria. It'll be a multi-use trail, horses, bicycles, pedestrians, and we're going to put that in as a grant request, and we need your support to help us there. Okay? Anything else? Yes. What is
Do
it?
we have a show of hands regarding the store?
No, and I'll tell you why. Because there's issues that we have to discuss yet, and let's wait till we get out. I was going to say, there's going to be more meetings on the Dollar General. This is not the end of the line. So we talked to Joe about some ideas. We have to give him a chance to go back and say, yes, we can do that. Yes, we can't do that, but we can do this. And maybe that'll make us all feel better. Maybe it won't. But we will have other meetings. And it won't be a show of hands. It will be a formal vote. And we will take a roll call vote on whether or not Math supports the Dollar General here. And I will take that opinion in hand and go to the board, the commission, planning commission, and express your views. That's my job.
Whoever shows up.
I beg your pardon?
A roll call of who?
Yeah, if you don't show up, you don't get to vote. That's the way it works. Yeah, you have to be here. And I understand, we've had it before, but you have to be here to vote. There's no proxies.
What's the timeline for that?
Rick doesn't have a timeline yet. I'll get a hold of Joe and he'll be talking to me about our concerns and whether or not he can help us or not. Okay, so let's all take deep breaths and and just take deep breaths and wait for the right moment, and then we can make a decision. Yes, ma'am.
Hi, I'm Peggy. I have a bunkhouse on the corner. But I want to know, do you inform Mama of the meetings and things? Because I have with them.
Yes, yes.
And I need to, so I don't want to miss any of this. I've been missing it because I wasn't getting, well, now I need to know.
Well, talk to Mama.
Well, it's not, wasn't just Mama, it was some other things too.
Yeah,
So,
we talked to Mama so many times to get them to come here. And
They're here.
yeah.
How many mama members are here?
and it's also posted on the
Oh, 3 or
Mama
4.
Facebook page.
I beg pardon?
It's also posted on the Mama Facebook page. The agenda.
It's the same. It's the second Thursday of every month at 7 o'clock right here. It's not a secret meeting. Okay? Okay. Yes, if I hear a motion to adjourn.
I have motion.
Motion to adjourn. No discussion on a motion to adjourn. All those in favor? Aye. All opposed? Adios.